Hi, Richard Coffin 666. How are you? With my answers to Jerry's questions, and may I say, on behalf, I'm sure, of everyone, or at least most people, well done, Jerry. I was very impressed. You didn't pull any punches. You didn't make any excuses. You came out. You had a response up within hours. I was very impressed, and I thought your questions back your answers were very, very interesting. And you've asked me 5 questions. And now it's my turn to answer your 5 questions. What was the most embarrassing or shameful moment of my life? I wasn't too sure what to say at this point, because it's not that I couldn't think of an embarrassing moment. I had trouble siphoning out the 15 dozen or so that I had going through my head. It helped me when you said in the question, you said humiliating. About 4 years ago, as obviously I do stand-up comedy, and there's a comedy club in the UK called the Comedy Store. There's one in America too. And I got my first ever 10-minute spot there. It was at an awful time, but it was at midnight slot. And I'd been waiting ages to get this spot, years of struggling and getting there. And I went there, and it was a really shitty night. The audience were drunk and not really paying attention. I did as best I could. I did what I felt was right at the time. And then afterwards, the guy who runs the place, a guy called Don Ward, who's like the Simon Cowell of stand-up comedy, he sort of sat me down and gave me my dressing down, and basically left me feeling that everything I did was shit, and it was and I was useless, and there was no point in me doing it, and it was rubbish. And it was the first time ever I left almost right away, and it was the first time ever after a bad gig, that I burst into tears, just weeping for ages. I was walking down the streets in London for hours, just wailing, walking past people, because I felt like, this was the first time. I'd fucked up loads of times in my life, at lots of stuff, but this was the first time in my life I'd fucked up at something I genuinely cared about. And it was so upsetting that I just felt so embarrassed, but I felt useless. It's just, at that time you just feel like there is no point to me, and that would be the most humiliating time of my life. Okay, if I was on YouTube or on television, this is a very good question. If the world was watching all at the same time, if everyone in the world was watching, what would I say? What one thing would I say? Now, people who watch my videos will know that there's nothing I love more than prattling on for as long as humanly possible. So it was really, really difficult. I mean, you said, could it be funny or serious? I did have several different ones. I thought it'd be funny if, I just had a playing card in my back pocket, like the Jack of Spades, and I just sort of looked out to 6.7 billion people and went, "Was that your card?" and then ran off. What would I say to them? It's today's a good day. You're alive, and you're listening to me. I don't know. It would have to be something. Just why are you looking at me? What is you shouldn't be doing this. This is your life. Make the most of it now. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to anyone. Figure it out for yourself. Now go away. Earliest memory. I used to be the kitchen in the house when I grew up. I remember when I can't remember how old I was, but I was small enough that I was being bathed in the sink in the kitchen, in the actual kitchen sink. I was being bathed in there because why not? There's no point having a proper full bath, so I'm scum. Put me in a sink. And I remember, and it was a normal kitchen sink. And the reason I remember this one is because I was being I filled up the hot water, put the soap in there. My mum put me in there, naked, obviously. You didn't need me to tell you that, but I just like saying that, just to remind you. And she'd done the washing up before this, and evidently had not fully emptied the sink, and there was this small fork, just sort of, she obviously didn't see, and as I sort of was plonked in there, the prongs of this fork, which were obviously leaning upwards, just sort of nicely sort of dug right in to the sort of base of my scrotum, which at that age, at the age of like 3 years old, it can be somewhat disconcerting to have a solid steel piece of cutlery shoved into your genitalia. It was just a good job I didn't know what it was for. But I started wailing and screaming, and then obviously my mother just thought that it was the hot water. Going, "Oh, stop being a big fucking girl's blouse, come on." And yeah, and then she picked me up, emptied the sink, and I sat there having a bath with a fork jammed in my nuts. This was a very cheeky question, Jerry. I wouldn't have asked this question. You asked me how much money. Now, when I took that to mean, obviously not physical, like possessions. I can't work out how much the stuff I own. This was shamefully. This was the easiest. This question took the least amount of time to figure out. Because it's not a big answer. I think you point out I haven't got any debt. I don't have any debt. I own bits and pieces. I own stuff. I don't know what that's worth. In cash, it's somewhere in the region. I couldn't work it out exactly. But it was around about, or near as makes no difference, £5,000, which is about $10,000 to $11,000. It's not a lot. I've never wanted a lot of money, to be honest with you. I've never been able to save money that much. But when when I have money, I don't do anything. I can't be bothered. I'm one of these people. If I won the lottery, like 50 million, I'd never do anything for the rest of my life. I would just sort of sit down and die. That's basically it. I would get up, go to the lavatory. I wouldn't do it. In order for me to get motivated to get up and do stuff like this, and to write and think and to want to do something with my life, I have to be on the verge of famine. I have to be. So I'm always sort of more comfortable that way. So yeah, so there you go, Jerry. I'm not giving you a PIN number though. But right. This is the last one. This is a good question. If I knew God was real, let's say God was real, for argument's sake, God was real, and I was looking at God face to face, and I could ask him a question, what would I ask him? And what do I think his answer would be? Now, that is a very, very tough question. I assume, now you didn't say that this would be like when I've died on Judgment Day, and I took it, the reason, and I'm not going to answer it like that, because if you're taking it as if I've just died, to me it's kind of like, well, there's no point me asking a question, because if it's the God, obviously I'm assuming, this is the God from your religion, there'd be no point me asking him a question, because it was like, I'm going to go to hell now. I'm not, there'd be no, I wouldn't need to know anything. So I'm taking this to mean that I'm just walking down the street, or it's a normal day, and I come face to face. What would I ask him? I would ask him, why is it I'm a better person than you? Because I feel that because if I had the power he had, and could see the world and see what was going on in the way I do, I wouldn't allow, there wouldn't be all this shit going on. There wouldn't be all these death, disease, famines, wars. It wouldn't exist. It wouldn't have to. And but I don't have the power to do that. But I try as hard as I can. And he has the power to do that, but he doesn't. And there's no need for that. So why am I a better person than you, God? And I imagine he would say something like, it's all part of my plan, it's part of God's rich tapestry. You know, you are one with me on the earth. He'd spin me. I can imagine him just spinning the same old rhetoric that I hear from people like Reupped and Venofang to justify, because there is no real moral way to answer that question as to why God is such a prick at times. But at least I know he was there, so I could start shitting myself. So that's what I would say. Anyway, Jerry, I've just hit 10:30. I did go over a bit, but I didn't start right away. So, they're my answers, Jerry. Now, I think we've all done well. I think it's been fun, isn't it? I think it's been fun to start with. Hasn't this just been better, Jerry, than just a normal back and forth bollocks debate between that you and I have probably no doubt had a million times? Isn't this better? Isn't this more fun? Isn't this more interesting? Right, we're now going to go on to round 2. However, I'm not going to tell you what round 2 is yet. I do know what it is, but what I wanted to do first, Jerry, is you've got the video you made to me. You've got the video I've made to you. I've got the video you made to me. Now, just over the course of the next couple of days, watch that video. Watch these videos, and try and find. Don't just listen to it. Try and sort of get as much out of it as you can, so you feel you can learn as much as you can about each other from what we've said in these videos, and then we'll come back. And then probably be in the middle of the week, I will come back with round 2. But Jerry, it's been a pleasure so far. Sorry, Night Vision Phantom. And I hope you've enjoyed it at home. This is Richard the Dick Coughlin, 666, saying good night, and for now, may God be less.